My dad's like, if you want to win again, I can teach you how to win again. We've got to put the phone off. We've got to get that mindset back. Get rid of everything that's happened in the last couple of months. Speak to someone properly. Get your mind right. It's nothing to do with your ability. You're the man.
Let's dive into the session with none other than Chad Leclerc.
WhatsApp Chad 2084 000 947 to receive a link to watch or listen to this intimate discussion with Chad Leclerc.
Top stories. Get the news before it's history in the morning.
You know, when you talk about coming through from the shadows of mid-table obscurity to the summit of South African football, from the Motsepe Foundation Championship to the dazzling stage of the Betway Premiership, that's the story of Kruger United's wonderful rise. It's been nothing short of extraordinary. I mean, this is a club born just 3 years ago, guys. Remember that. 3 years ago, now standing proudly amongst the nation's elite. And at the heart of this remarkable journey is a coach who has fused discipline. I think you look at the psychology as well, the tactical innovation, above all, the courage to learn from all of his mistakes. Now, this is a man who's worked under such big giants of the game. You know, people like Rudy Kroll. He's worked with Augusto Palacios, Eric Tinkler, Roger de Sam, even the likes of McDonald, Makubedu. And absorbing lessons, I would imagine, from every dressing room and also shaping a philosophy uniquely his own. And he took Kruger United from 9th place to being champions, amassing an astonishing 62 points and also sealing promotion with games to spare. And if I'm not mistaken, it was already after 27 games. They were cruising nicely. There was Kruger. But then this is what I call the ultimate test, the Premiership. Already the Village Boys have shown that they do belong, grinding out a first top flight point in a goalless draw against Marawa Gallants. They also, despite finishing with 10 men, they managed that. So survival, he knows, will demand more than tactics. It will require psychological steel, relentless discipline, shrewd recruitment, and also the art of concealing weaknesses while amplifying their strengths. So he refuses, though, to let Kruger enter the Premiership as relegation fodder. He wants them competing, believing, and also climbing. And that's why tonight we step inside the mind of the man behind the Village Boys' extraordinary accent. Coach Abraham Mongoya is here with us. Coach, for the very first time, welcome to Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Good evening, Mr. Rob. Good evening to the listeners at home. Thank you.
Sure, I mean, what a moment. I'm sure it sunk in a long time ago that, hey, this is a Betway Premiership.
Yeah.
How are you feeling now, a couple of games into it?
Yeah. Firstly, I feel honored, and I'd like to thank the club management, the club president, club chairman, and the entire management of Kruger United for standing behind the technical staff and giving us the leap of faith to say they can continue with us.
Yeah.
And also the supporters for being behind us. The boys also believing that we can also help them settle into this league. And yeah.
I forgot to say to you, though, because it's the first time I have you in studio.
Yeah.
I forgot to say a very key word. Congratulations, because you guys were... Champions of the Motsepe Foundation Championship. Hey, that must have meant everything to you personally.
Yeah, I think, Rob, it was an honorable moment for me personally, and a moment that I wanted to also thank the Mpumalanga province, because I think in my upbringing as a coach, they've given me more opportunities than any other province. They've shown belief, and I think it was just me giving back and giving my all. And most importantly, just trying to raise a hand for the next generation of coaches to say we are there also to be able to raise our hands to say we can be part of it.
And I mean, being a part of it has a lot to say about you and what you can deliver. It's got a lot to say about what the management, the co-owners have to say about you? I mean, we had the chairman here sometime earlier this year.
Yeah.
And he spoke very fondly about what it is that the team, number one, can achieve, but also what you can achieve. And then when you get promotion in such a healthy time, by the time you hit match day 27, I think people were starting to pop the champagne. It was coming out of the cooler boxes and everything else. What made that journey? Sometimes people go up until match day lost, up until a decider comes up. But for you to have had this very healthy gap, what would you have masked that success to? What was it that brought about such a confident end to the season?
I think firstly, credit to the technical team. I would have not achieved it without them. The most important part that they did was putting in a lot of hours, a lot of work, very energetic young technical team. That's why we maybe in this season we brought in Coach Joel to try and beef up and try and get the balance because it was very energetic. They work a lot of hours behind, and we've got a very good relationship with the boys, number one. And we're very fortunate as well to get players that also wanted to revive their career, getting a management that's also very ambitious. And I think it's a combination of many things also, the privilege of not having all the resources, however, making sure that we grind the results and keep going. Most importantly, we made sure that we enjoy every journey, every game, and we respected every opponent the same way, irrespective of the names of the club and their history.
Is that why you guys were saying what you were saying before you played against Kaizer Chiefs? Because, I watched your interviews. I was like, if ever you get into the Betway Premiership or you get promoted in whatever league, when you get given a team like Kaizer Chiefs with the history that Chiefs has, the worst thing you can do is bow down to them and say, "Oh, Ngos, we see you, we are wobbling, we are shaking, we are nervous." You almost psychologically threw it back to them. Do you have any regrets about your approach and how you literally just handled whatever media interviews were coming your way? Because I think almost in the back of the media's mind, they were hoping to see a crack in you, but you didn't.
Not at all, Parop. Most importantly, I think it was just the belief from the boys. We've not had the best preseason. However, I love how the boys bounce back and respond all the time. For me, it's important that we always wanted to be at this stage. So when you get to the stage, you can't shake, you can't crack, you can't allow that to happen. The most important part, you've got to enjoy the journey as much as you enjoyed the journey up. And we make sure that we wanted to dance with the big boys. It's a stage to dance with the big boys, and we've got to show what we are capable of as well.
Now, you mentioned Joel Masilela. There was a stage where people were saying that, hey, he's coming to take your job. That usually happens. It's nothing new in local football, that he who sits as your assistant at times is seen as he who wants your actual job as the head coach. But you were very quick to crush all of that. I think even the club ownership were very quick to crush that. What's the feeling now? And I know that you've mentioned before that he's almost like a father figure to you. You still feel that way?
Yeah, I still feel that way. Manages situations better because of the experience as well. I think he's done it all, in my opinion. He's not there to want to shine and want to do any glory. I think he fits in the profile of the rest of the technical staff because we know about the glory, about the grinding and the results. And I think he comes in, helps the boys to settle. And because we've just brought in a few other boys from Leopards, he also helped them to settle as well. However, also he helped us to also be stable within the group. Even if we can have conflicts, you can see he's always managing situations better. Yeah, I saw even in the build-up of the Kaizer Chiefs game, some of the boys are a little bit shaky, and he's first to pick it up because of the experience, and I love it. I think it's a good contribution to the team.
So your guys beating and thrashing Black Leopards like that was almost like a surrender to them to say, okay, you've beat us. What is it, 3-1? Okay, take the players. Yeah, we've got that lined up. And I think Joel is no stranger to Black Leopards. I think him and his time at Black Leopards, or his time with David Tidiela, who was here last week, is something that we all know to be a part of. But tell us about Simon Marange, though, because he's the assistant coach who you've said if Joel is great with the players that are seen as experienced players, Simon is the opposite. He deals better with the younger players, maybe the inexperienced players at this level. How does that work?
Yeah, has good background of development. I think he spent 8 to 9 years at Pirates in the development and is very passionate about that. Yeah, wants to win. One thing we like, so he helps the young ones to get it at this stage and want to be competitive. And I think that's one big strength that he brings in and he still loves to be on the field and train and have more sessions on the field. Has the desire to play in sessions, go through that and improve every individual. Very good on PDPs, the player development programs, to improve every individual, every player. He's also very good with the senior players. However, I just love his strength with the young ones, and that's I think where I feel sometimes, because as a head coach you're more demanding about results, you're more worried about the team being productive. There he fits in, and I think he's part of a perfect puzzle for the team.
I mean, you talk about Orlando Pirates and the time that Simon did spend at Pirates, but it's also a team that you spend time with. I mean, I talked about Rudy Krol. Rudy Krol is more than anything is a World Cup captain for his nation. He's a World Cup winner himself. He's somebody who knows how to win at the highest level. He's a double treble winner at Orlando Pirates. You talk about a Professor Augusto Palacios. Palacios knows exactly what he's doing when it comes to coaching. Eric Tinkler, Roger Desai, you name them. Those are people you've worked with, talking about the Pirates thing. I'll talk about Rolani in a second.
Yes.
What is it that they brought onto the table for you to learn from?
I think how they manage the group. With Coach Krol, how he also managed the management. It's important that you manage the team behind the team, which is the club management. Manage the dynamics. Sometimes the expectations, maybe they come too early for the club to want to succeed. I think in his first 2 seasons, he didn't achieve much. But you could see he was building something solid. But in his last season, one thing that I took out was when he took authority in the team and started managing the team more better and building a very competitive environment for every player, challenged every player in a different way. He studied every individual and managed them very differently, because some could crack when he went too hard. And those are the things that I also learned from him. Coming to Coach Augusto, the professor himself. Professor steps into the first team. The team they just won a treble. He comes in and he needs to manage the expectation and still achieve it. And he does very well in that situation, because he comes in this your high profile players like your Benny McCarthy's, your Puamate, and how he managed the two groups of because at Pirates, that was for me, that was one of the strongest Pirates, strongest change room there, because the senior players managed and controlled the change room very well. But he won them over in just 2 or 3 weeks. And for me, that was amazing to win such high profile names and big personalities like that.
It's big egos that you have to manage there.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah. And he did very well under the conditions.
All right, Abraham, we're going to come back from the break. We'll take your calls. As I said, we'll have a bigger, broader conversation just about, his tactics. I remember him saying that he's also a very difficult coach to work with. What does difficult mean?
947.
Plenty of your voice notes, which really says to me that Abraham Mongoya, the head coach of Kruger United, has got something very special working for him, and a lot of people have been observing it.
Good evening, Mr. Marawa. Good evening to Coach Abraham. It's Doctor here. Coach, you are one of the greatest Soweto. I remember when you were the coach of KFC, when we won a Discovery Challenge back in 2010. Yeah, you conquered. You showed your charisma during Leso Skat Leso, and yeah, I'm very chuffed to see you rising up to where you are. I've always been your fan, now. But I've always been your fan. I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best when I'm fit. Thank you, Dr. Mkabelala, KFC. We are now.
Good to hear now. Hey, Doctor, thank you so much indeed. Obviously, somebody that knows you fairly well and appreciates the work that you've done, observed what you've done in Soweto, KFC being the one that he mentions quite a lot. What's your response to that?
Yeah, I have to thank abantu bafana no Braddock. They had his squad. They take it out of their pockets to make sure Nali squad Sabasbits and KFC and we play the tournaments, the December tournaments, Discovery, Malanda, and with the Black Poison. I think those are platforms that we also learned how to coach the big guys that play in the PSL in the off season at an early age. So you need to learn to manage
as well, didn't they? Hey?
Yeah. Also the Manipiri tournaments.
Correct.
Yeah, we played in those tournaments, and you learn how to deal with those big players, because sometimes they would play for the crowd and not play. You still need to manage and see if they still give you the result and still enjoy because they just come there to enjoy more than most importantly. But you also need not to lose what we're trying to do for the team.
I was going to say that those players, they took it to heart because they knew that some of those European coaches were restricting their ability to showcase their talent because those coaches thought it was called showboating.
Yeah.
Whereas they were just trying to say, hey guys, we're not scoping down the other things that we can do with the ball. Maxwell's in Pretoria, good evening.
Good evening, Bob Marawa and Coach Abraham and the studio. Marawa, thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, welcome.
Starting with the coach, does he aware that the real roots of the village boys is in Bushbuck Ridge, where there is a Tulamahachi Stadium that I heard that is in construction? When are they going to pencil their games there? Because for a lot of supporters that they support them, they're down there to travel to Mbombela. Sometimes it's interesting, and Kwabokeng, so, and they're beefing up the striking force of the team and the defense for that matter to get quality. What is his take on that one? Because for me, the way they played against Kaizer Chiefs, they should have got a point on that game. But because of their defense, sometimes finding themselves in 6 and 7s, they considered, and Chiefs won that game. But going forward, I still maybe they can improve if they can get the quality. My last point, Marawa, it's about my observation about the PSL and the Mamelodi Sundowns and the TS Galaxy games. It always, Marawa, plays on Tuesday in the evening. I don't remember a game between TS Galaxy and Mamelodi Sundowns during the day in Mbombela. Why is that? Since the exception of TS Galaxy, that game or a league game is always Tuesday at night. Thanks for taking my call, Marawa.
Thank you, Maxwell. Thank you very much indeed. Well, all I can say is that we're expecting Tim Sugazi, the big boss at TS Galaxy, to be here in studio this time next week. He has promised us his time then. Maybe we'll throw it to him. I don't want to give you an unqualified answer to fixtures as well as venue scheduling when I do not work anywhere close to Parktown. But from your side, though, what he's mentioned about you personally and also some of the players, and that, it could have been more clinical. Ketuk Tulandlov was also one of the players that I rate quite highly. We'll talk about him. Maybe some challenges that and decisions that you have to make, because a lot of the players are either knocking on 30 or 30 already. Does that pose a problem for you to bring in new players? Yeah, so maybe take a shot at anything that Maxwell said.
Yeah, I think he's touched on defensively. We struggled. We looked better yesterday, very solid. Against Chiefs, we struggled. I think it's more about game time. In our preseason, we didn't have the privilege to have enough friendlies that we would have liked to have. So you look at the goals, they come in slightly towards the end where the fatigue levels are starting to creep in. We'll get better game by game, both on the defensive and the offensive part of the game. But part of the reason we wanted to also control and manage the game and keep the ball was just to try and defend with the ball and make sure that we don't expose too many things that we're trying to hide at the time. I think we're in a better position now because we just played our 2 friendlies during the break.
Okay, so there's always a method to the madness at times, and that madness people don't quite see as well. All right, I'll get comments as well. A lot of you are watching the show via the YouTube channel. I'll get the comments that are being posted there, but let's go back to voice notes.
Evening there, Rob. I was saying, I just hope the coach can finish the season. That's my wish, just to finish the season with the team in the PSL. Then next season try to compete for top 8. Thanks. All the best for the rest of the season.
I'm sure your ambitions are higher than just to finish the season.
Yeah.
We were just chatting off air. because you were part of the Rulani Mukwena one-day stay at Chippa United. Obviously, it's not going to happen now.
Yeah.
You know, that record is done. You know, all of that negativity is done. You've learned from that experience as well. But what's coming through, because a lot of people say, what's the mandate? What's the mandate? People love that word when you come into a position like this. Is there such a thing with you about a mandate for the season?
Yeah, for the club, I think they gave us a reasonable mandate to save the status. And then as a technical staff and the players, we've just made an ambition to say, can we push ourselves into the top 8? We can't aim too low. I think we took time to study Stellenbosch as they moved into the league. Now they are full-time PSL franchise. They started where we started. And you looked at Highlands when they went up as well.
Yes.
We studied Highlands. We studied Polokwane City. I think they've also learned from their previous experiences.
To a certain extent, Richards Bay.
Yeah. Kruger United.
Yeah.
I remember when you got promoted to Kruger, at some point we're second in the log and we didn't start very well. After 3 games, we only had 2 points.
With Makubedi.
Yeah, with under coach McDonald Makubedi, and we had to adapt and change the strategy. And when the coach said, let's use a different approach, we had to sit down and come up with what works for us with the type of players we have and the type of games, the fixtures also influenced how we played, because we also need to look at the strengths and the weaknesses of the opponents. And I think we did very well to push up. I think we are capable of doing something remarkable.
I mean, unqualified. You have a CAF A license. I've got nothing from CAF, no license in coaching. But what I've noticed is that as a team that's newly promoted, is that the first 15 games, so match day 1 up to match day 15, you are an unknown entity.
Yeah.
Because all of these Premier League teams have watched other opposition on TV, they've done their video analysis, etc., etc. So you come in almost on a clean slate and you surprise them on match day, most of them. And I've always seen that to be an advantage. And that's why I use Richards Bay, because they had a good run of 15 games. And then after match day 16, things turned around. It was draw, it was loss. How important is it to maximize on the tag of being an unknown entity?
Yeah, we're trying. I think it's very important on that. However, we just stepped in a little bit late into the PSL because now teams look at you differently. I think you look at Chiefs, they went back to our last season and they said the club has kept a coach, because you could see with the approach that they already had an idea of how we wanted to play. That's why we could also tweak and give them a little bit of challenges tactically. That's why we had a little bit of control in certain moments, and had we used our opportunities, we could be different, talking a different story. Same situation yesterday, I think. And you look at the next fixture as well, and then next 5 fixtures as well, and then you say, what can we do? And so there's a possibility of us putting in an upset in one of the 2 teams, because we've got to also settle and achieve our target of at least a minimum of 7 points per game. Per block of 5 points.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you've also got Motsepe Mahao as your video analyst. So is he still part of the team?
We lost to Motsepe Mahao. I think he's gone out of the country. I'm not sure.
Anyone replaced him?
Yeah, we brought in Mr. Calvin Cuddy.
Okay.
From Uppington City. I had the privilege to work with him when I was there at the beginning of last season. So I think he's got a background of how you want to do things, and we also brought back Calvin Mavunga, who's also another analyst that he's also experienced in this space and understand, because we also worked with him. So we've got 2 analysts in our department, and we'll still looking to strengthen with one more later on.
I think we need to call you Mr. Vacuum Cleaner, though, because that ill-informed decision of you to leave your current team and go to the very same Uppington City, that's what you claimed it as. Obviously, you came back with Calvin to now occupy the position that he does occupy. But you also did the damage there, because almost in your first game, you played against them and you clapped them 4-2. Wow. What a thing. No comment. It's fine. Let's go to voice notes.
Hi Robert. Ngithanda ukubongela ucoach Abraham ngibongela nje ukuthi awine akhona ukufika ku-Betway. So bengicela ukubuza ukuthi yini eyenza ukuthi atshintshe isquad ebekadlala ngaso ku-Motsepe Foundation. Asichange manje ngoba seka-Betway because labafana yibo bebadlala and bayimisele yababona ukuthi bayimisela. So ngicela ukwazi ukuthi kuye ngani ukuthi abachange.
Good evening, Mr. Marawa, and also good evening to Kruger United FC coach, Mr. Mongoya. You are speaking to Zintle from Bushbuck Ridge. Firstly, congratulations on earning promotion to the Betway Premiership. Also, I think it would be very faulty for us to only congratulate the coach and the team and then forget the players who helped the team to gain this promotion. I wanted to find out and to understand if the coach has any plans to use the players that were playing in the NFD last season in the Betway Premiership, because when we look at the Kaizer Chiefs game and as well as the Marumo Gallants game last night, we have seen that a lot of the players were missing from the lineup and others were not in the lineup at all, including substitutions. So I want to find out if he has any plans for them or they are just keeping them in the team for vibes. Thank you.
Keeping them for vibes. Sure. Yeah. I know we don't have much time even for vibes, but how do you summarize that? Because those are two different voice notes, but talking about the very same thing, about the players, those that you used in the lower division and those that you've been using now.
Yeah, I think firstly, the club has brought in the SD, sporting director, who's more responsible in recruitment. We just maybe give him the profile of the players, and then he is fully in charge of who he brings into the club. We've got a little influence with regards to that one, with the players that we lost. However, we thank them, and to show that they're good players, they managed, most of them managed to get clubs. We just played against two of them yesterday. And it was fulfilling for me to see them still playing football at this level.
But coming to team selection, that is your role, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. 100%. And we don't reward names. We reward efforts at training and adaptation with how we want to approach the game and how we want to also adapt to this league. Also, we need to give freedom to the boys to understand that also most of our squad is inexperienced with regards to this league. So you also want them not to come in and crack and you break them, because it will take us a long time to bring them again. So we also need to protect the boys and play them at the right time. Most definitely, if they work, they continue to work, and it is deservedly so when they deserve the opportunity. We always reward hard work because we record every session, so we don't just thumbsuck when it comes to lineup. We are very detailed with regards to that.
Yeah, and I think just to share with you, the listener, maybe they've added to who and what they have. Outside of there being a head coach and an assistant coach, there's a second assistant coach, a third assistant coach, there's a goalkeeper coach, there's a sports scientist, there's a physiotherapist, performance and opposition analyst that we spoke about just now. There's a kit and equipment manager, team media officer. There's a team manager. I don't know. Am I missing something here, Coach? Or someone? Is there special projects? You know, Jomasone likes special projects.
We don't have special projects. We don't have special projects. We believe in hard work. We believe in commitment and everything else.
It was our introductory interview with you, Coach. Just to say to you, congratulations. I'm sure we'll have you back in studio to talk a little bit more once your transfer window things have settled and you've got your proper team up and running. And we'll go into tactics. We'll talk about, I see a lot of people on YouTube asking about your qualifications and so on. We'll talk purely football. This was just to say to South Africans that here you are, you've made it. You won promotion. You were number one in a lower division. You've already had very tough battles. You'll have played both Chiefs and Pirates within such a short space of time. But long may your success continue, Coach Abraham, and I wish you everything of the best in the Betway Premiership.
Humble, Mr. Rob, and thank you very much for having me.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you very, very much. Wishing Kruger United everything of the best, though they deserve the position that they're in. This has been Marawa Sports Worldwide, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
947